on behalf of the DMK party. Sir, our constitution is a unique and enduring document which has withstood many crises and the test of time. So the Indian constitution has not come out of a revolution, as in many other countries, but it is out of a series of experiences, developments rooted in constitutional methodologies and principles. Sir, I've got a lot to say about it, sir. Before that, I'd like to recall Thomas Jefferson, the architect of the Declaration of Independence and the third president of the United States of America. He once wrote that no constitution in the world will survive for more than 19 years. Later, the same theory was reaffirmed by three researchers on an empirical study which has come out in The Endurance of National Constitutions. And it also said that every constitution expires within 17 years. They said some reasons for that, sir. That inclusivity is a main reason, and adaptability of the constitutionalism. Sir, as far as we are concerned, we want to appreciate first the framers of the Constitution. Sir, as the statement of Thomas Jefferson, or as which has been reaffirmed by researchers, sir, our Constitution has survived for more than 17 years and still it is robust and dynamic. What are the reasons for this, sir? The other constitutions have not debated as much as us. The American Constitution was debated and drafted within 4 months, and the South African was within 9 months. Whereas the Constituent Assembly of India, to draft the Constitution, sir, first the members were elected indirectly across the state, from the provincial states, from the princely states, and the provincial principal commissioners. It came to about 389, and later after the partition, it came down to 299, and with that, the Constituent Assembly started functioning. These are all very important facts, sir. We have to mention what is the reason for the robust nature of our Constitution. Sir, it held 11 sessions, sir, which ran up to 165 days, out of which 114 days were focused totally on the draft Constitution. 7,635 amendments were tabled, and 2,473 amendments were moved. Whereas in other constitutions, in other nations' constitutions, amendments were not moved, sir. And subsequent to that, the position of our constitution is very much glorified. Our constitution is credited for establishing the rule of law and also fostering a responsible government to India. Our constitution played a pivotal role in shaping India's democratic character and safeguarding individuals' liberties, balancing the delicate relationship between the sovereign state and federalism, and above all, it formed the backbone of India's governance. Sir, before I go into the subject, I have something to say which the finance minister in her initiative speech said about the first amendment to the Constitution, which you are very well aware of, 1951. She said about 1904 of the Constitution, the amendment that was made was 1904. I would like to say, sir, in the same amendment, there was another one, which is 15.4, Article 15, 5 and 6. Sir, the first amendment to the Constitution was subsequent to a case which the leader of opposition mentioned, Chanakyaa. Before that, one should know about the history, sir. It was first in Tamil Nadu, then Madras Presidency. In 1921, when the Justice Party, our parent body, was ruling Tamil Nadu, a communal GO was issued. By that way, everyone were benefited by way of reservation. So long, since then, only the upper caste was enjoying all the education and employment opportunities. And that was made with more reservation in 1927. And later, sir, this Shanbhagam Doraraj filed a case in the court that this communal reservation deprives her of a genuine seat in medical. The court, the later came the fact. The court upheld her case and petition and struck down the communal reservation. The strange part of this is the Shanbhagam Doraraj who has filed the case was not at all an applicant. So it was struck down, and all those days which were enjoyed by the people of OBC, SC, and other communities, this reservation benefit was really shocked. So at that time, Thanai Periyar, our mentor and our founder leader Anna, launched a very big agitation in Tamil Nadu demanding for reservation, and it became a people's movement. And because of that, the 1951 amendment was brought. The first amendment, it says that nothing in this article or subclass, nothing in this article or in class 2 of the article 29 shall prevent the state from making any special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens or for the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes. So, sir, this 1951 First Amendment, no one should forget, sir, that without this, the benefit would not have been extended to the suppressed and oppressed classes all those years. It was thanks to the Dravidian movement. What we call now Dravidian model is only this. Only because of that, the reservation was restored. And later, when the Mandal Commission recommendations came for reservation to the OBC in education and employment, I would like to recall who all opposed and who pulled down the government of Mr. VP Singh, the then Prime Minister. But then it was implemented. May I urge the learned people, members in the treasury benches, it was only by an OM, that is office memorandum. If you are really interested in the interests of OBC, you bring a constitutional, as you did for EWS. You did for EWS, but you are not yet still bothered about the OBC, but you say very proudly everywhere that you are all OBC communities. So, sir, and this is the right time. Dr. Ambedkar, who became later the chairman of the drafting committee, was only a member in a subcommittee on fundamental rights. Before 9 months, he was assigned the responsibility of chairing the drafting committee, sir. In the subcommittee, on 27th of February 1947, asked its members to submit their ideas in writing. And Dr. Ambedkar, along with Mr. Munshi, Aladi Krishnasamy Iyer, and Harnam Singh, he also submitted one. Very interesting to know, sir, the title of that draft report which Ambedkar submitted was United States of India. This language was reminiscent of America's Declaration of Independence. It very clearly said, sir, that the federalism must be upheld and more rights to be given to the states. But on the day of adoption, Munshi's draft was adopted by the committee, and Ambedkar was not also there. It was not. Later, he tried his best to implement what all was in his mind in the United States of India. So ultimately, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar's intention was to strengthen the states. There is no explicit term federalism in our constitution, but the very first in the preamble says, India, that's Bharat, shall be a union of states. That itself is very emphatic. And later, he became the chairman of the drafting committee. And it's very appreciable, sir, the constitution which was drafted and adopted later, it established the foundation for a country that would respect diversity in religion and culture while upholding the values of equality and fairness. These are to be kept by the ruling party today. The nation's dedication to diversity and tolerance is demonstrated by the Indian Constitution, which protects the rights of linguistic and religious minorities. Additionally, the Constitution preserved unity among many religious communities by guaranteeing that the state would not favor any one religion. Sir, underscore, the Constitution guarantees that the state would not favor any one religion over another by supporting the secularism ideal. It's very clear, sir. But what is happening today? I don't want to bring down the level of the debate because it's a Constitution glorious celebration we are, 75 years. So we have to applaud. So many scholars, intellects were in the Constituent Assembly, whom we fondly remember, or it is our bounden duty to pay respects to all those people. They are now called as the framers of the Constitution. Dr. Ambedkar, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Rajendra Prasad K.M. Munshi, Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, B.N. Rao, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, J.B. Kripalani, Rafi Ahmad Kidwai, Mr. Santanam, K.T. Shah, H.V. Kamath, T.T. Krishnamachari, and above all, Qaide Millat Sahib. Sir, when the partition happened, when Jinnah divided, wanted to have a separate nation for Muslims, and as I said, 389 members in the Constitution Assembly came down to 299. Many, when he declared that whoever are Muslims, come with me to the Muslim nation. But including Qaide Millat Sahib, the Muslims who are now in this country said, yes, we are Islamic people, but India is our country. But how they are treated now? I would urge, sir, again the government, not an iota of apprehension should come in the minds of the linguistic and religious minority in this country. But it often happens. We have to see to that, sir. Everything. And Dr. Ambedkar very responsibly told that. He was, of course, lauded by everyone. Pattabhiram Sitaramaiah told that when speaking about Dr. Ambedkar, he said, what a steamroller intellect he has brought into this Constituent Assembly, which is irresistible, indelible, and unconquerable. And Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, very clearly said that if at all the best thing the Constituent Assembly has done is that we have made Dr. Ambedkar as the chairman of the drafting committee. And what he said, sir, Dr. Ambedkar, he was also very much responsive. He appreciated each and everyone. The leader of opposition quoted someone. And Dr. Ambedkar very clearly says, I quote, sir, Sir Aladi Krishnamaiah, Dr. Ambedkar said, I came with no greater aspiration than to safeguard the rights of the interests of the scheduled caste people. I had the least remotest idea that I would be entrusted with such a big responsibility. There are people bigger, better, and more competitive than me in this assembly. But they have made me. They have entrusted the responsibility. They have chosen me as the chairman of the drafting committee. And he continues to say, sir, and he says very much about S.N. Mukherjee, Sundarnath Mukherjee. The West Bengal people should be happy about it. The Surendranath Mukherjee, he said, the task of the drafting committee would have been a very difficult one if this Constituent Assembly has been merely a motley crowd, a tessellated pavement without cement, a black stone here and white stone there, with each member or each group was a law unto itself. In that respect only, he is appreciating the Congress. It is because of the discipline of the Congress party that the drafting committee was able to pilot the constitution in the assembly with the sure knowledge as to fate of each article and each amendment. My job is not to be a spokesperson, sir, but I call a spade a spade. We have got many things, but we call a spade a spade. And Dr. Ambedkar shared the credit with each and everyone. He said party discipline, in all its rigidity, would have converted this assembly into a gathering of yes men. Fortunately, there were rebels. There were Mr. Kamath, Mr. Deshmukh, Mr. Sidwa, Professor K.T. Shah, and Pandit Hridayanath Kunsu. So when he appreciated those who supported, at the same time, he also mentioned those who were rebels, who spoke against. That is dissent, that is democracy. So that has emerged in those days itself. Sir, the Constitution has very great qualities. I don't want to go into that. I got something else. I want to remind of our great leader, the great thinker, uncomparable, and still not still, sir, forever, the very best scholar is our Anna, the founder leader of our DMK party. Sir, he used to write letters in the party official organ to his party cadre, enlightening them of what is going on in the country, enriching them with the history of the world. The revolutions happen here and there. For what reason? And all people have come out of slavery. All these things he was educating the last person in the party. So he used to write. But the way of addressing the letter was the dear brother. This family bondage, this affinity was first brought in by him. Anna wrote a letter which happened to be the last one and which is also called as the Will of Anna. At that time, he was the chief minister. He wrote that, dear brother, I have never been mad after power, nor I am happy to be the chief minister of a state which comes under a constitution where it is in letter that it is federalistic, but in practice it is becoming more and more centralized. So he expressed that autonomy has to be given to the states. This was his last wish, and so it is considered as a will. Because he realized the states which are the constituents of this union were weakened slowly, one by one stages. What is happening is now much worse. All the laws that have been enacted in the recent days by the BJP has either usurped the powers of the state or transgressed into the state's powers or minimizing, declining everything. This I have to mention, sir. Later, after the demise of Anna, our great leader, Dr. Kalaignar, the late Dr. Kalaignar, he took over the party president and the chief minister of the state. He immediately appointed, the first thing he said when he addressed the press in Delhi after meeting the prime minister conventionally, the first thing I'm going to do is to constitute a committee to go into the center-state relations. Because without powers, being a chief minister of a state is of no use. Much worse is what is happening in Delhi now. The Delhi, totally the chief minister's powers have been taken and given to the LG, and the chief secretary will master over the chief minister, and secretary will master over the minister. That is what's happening in Delhi. That's union territory. But even in the states were not able to fulfill the needs and the requirements of those people. So Dr. Kalaignar, he constituted a committee under the then former Chief Justice of Madras High Court, Dr. Rajya, and along with him two other luminaries, Chandasamy and one Lakshmanasamy, an academician. And the terms of reference was very important, entrusted to the committee. The terms of reference were, kindly look into it, that what are the powers from the union list and the concurrent list should be transferred to the state list. And what are the powers that has to be deleted from the union list. And when it was given, It came out with a very, sir, important report. It came out. It gave too many number of suggestions, out of which one is Interstate Council, which also was brought into action in during 1989 when VP Singh was the Prime Minister, thanks to our intervention, sir. And it advocated for more rights to the states. And Rajamanna Committee's vision is still a document which everyone, whoever wants to see, go into it. So also the Chanakyaa Commission later appointed during Mrs. Indira Gandhi's regime. That also went into the center-state relations. Later, the Poonch Committee, that was also appointed for this. All these committees converged at one point that India's individuality lies in diversity. They identified the Poonch Commission, sir, Justice Rajamanna Committee called for greater autonomy to states, including financial independence and a re-evaluation of centrally sponsored schemes. I think learned ministers are here, other members who are also learned are here. A rural scheme which is suited to Tamil Nadu will not be Rajasthan or any other northeastern. So centrally sponsored schemes has to be re-evaluated. It needs a re-evaluation. The Chanakyaa Commission furthered this vision by emphasizing consultation before union legislation affecting states and a larger share of tax revenues to be devoted to states. Despite these recommendations, implementation has been partial, having much of contradiction intact. The Poonch Commission identified the need for reforms in the current list and concurrent list and proposed institutionalized mechanisms for reforms for resolving disputes between the center and the states. So these reports offer a roadmap, but challenges still persist. Practically, the area of fiscal devolution and legislation overlap. This is where the commitment of federalism must be tested by ensuring that states are empowered to contribute effectively to the people nation building without being stifled by central overrule. Sir, we are much affected. Dr. Ambedkar said, caste and creed discrimination is prevailing in India. But out of our experience, we feel that the regional discrimination is much more predominant now. Stepmotherly attitude is shown to the states. For example, even the Finance Commission, devolution of taxes, Tamil Nadu has been slowly, the devolution is declining. The 12th Finance Commission gave 3.069 and the 15th gave only 2.6. And whatever, for every 1 rupee we give to the tax basket, we give only 29% in return. Whereas, actually the southern states, that too especially Tamil Nadu, which contributes more to the GST of this nation, GDP of this nation, is of course affected very much. Whereas those nations which are of lower fiscal discipline, they are rewarded much. For what? That is what we said, regional discrimination. I don't want to mention any particular state because our friends are here from various other states. But we feel that the northern states are shown more favoritism, showing lower fiscal discipline, whereas Tamil Nadu, which is performing very well in every, for example, in the higher education, the enrollment ratio overall in India is 28, whereas ours is 52%. So in every area, every sphere, the Tamil Nadu is doing very well, but we being victimized by the union government. So also, sir, the borrowing restrictions imposed under Article 293 undermines the autonomy of the states, discourages fiscal discipline, and stifles regional growth. In these situations, sir, we want to say that these things has to be revived. It's high time, sir. Even the very important is language policy, a sensitive issue that needs recalibration. Tamil Nadu's consistent opposition to the imposition of Hindi is not about rejecting a language. but about preserving its linguistic diversity. The two-language formula adopted in Tamil Nadu has fostered inclusivity without compromising on national unity. Sir, during the Constituent Assembly debates, though there was no subcommittee as like other things for language, but it happened so that when many proposed for Hindi to continue. Before independence, the official language of India was only English. But later, after the independence, the Constituent Assembly, they debated it, and a section of the members supported Hindi, and a section of the members supported English. And when it came to equality, Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who was then the chairman, cast his vote, and by that, Hindi became the official language. And very importantly, article, the language. So, sir, Article 368 also, I must appreciate that. It is the amending provision. The amending provision is the only special feature, unique feature in Indian Constitution which many others do not have. And because of that, so many amendments have been done. And that amendments are being done to meet the need of the day. And when the Constitution was drafted about the official language, sir, it very clearly said that Hindi shall be the official language in Devanagari script, and notwithstanding anything in this article, Parliament may be law provide for the use after the set period of 15 years, the English language or the Devanagari form of numerals. So it said that after 15 years of the enactment of the Constitution, English will go off, and then only Hindi will be the official language. Sir, again, our founder leader Anna, this house was benefited by his presence as a member from 62 to 67. He spoke very much about the language policy, and the Official Languages Amendment Act 1963 came, and it declared that the official language, the English shall also be the official language, as long as the non-Hindi speaking people accept it. Sir, whereas this government is totally thrashing all those things. What the Constitution has assured, it is not enough that you celebrate a Constitution Day in the Central Hall, which you have deserted. And it is not enough if you have a debate in both the houses of Parliament. It must be not only in letter, in spirit also it must be. When it has been assured, India is a country of complexity. It is multilingual, multicultural, multi-regional, multi-religious. Whereas you want to bring everything one nation, one election, one nation, one ration card, one nation, all, everything. One. But only this Parliament divides the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. The Central Hall, which used to unite the members of both the houses, is now totally, we are deprived of that. A new member who has come to the Lok Sabha will go off after 5 years without having acquaintance between the Rajya Sabha members and the Lok Sabha members. Why, when you are trying to unite each and everything, why you are dividing the members of Parliament from Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha? That's what I say. It's not just celebrating the Constitution. All the schemes which are implemented by this government are either in Hindi or in Sanskrit. Learned ministers, Puri is here, my dear brother Yadav is here. Kindly tell. Bhupenderji, you know better. It says that any bill or anything should be in English, the Constitution says. But who authorized you to name the nomenclature of every scheme that you bring or every bill you bring, either in Hindi or in Sanskrit? We enter into the Parliament. Now that we are accustomed, we are spelling out, pronouncing it, but we do not know the meaning. Makar Dwar. What is it? What is it? Wherever we go, we see only Sanskrit letters, we see only Hindi letters. See, India is a union of states, don't forget. Don't forget. In In the 8th schedule of the Constitution, there are 22 languages, and all those languages should be respected. And no one language should dominate the other. The Tamil is the ancient language in this world. It's the hoary language. When you say Sanskrit and Tamil are ancient, or they are classical languages, Sanskrit is not a spoken language. It's only in books. It is in Vedas. Whereas Tamil has a rich history of literature, grammar, and everything. And 8 countries have Tamil as the official language. Why you are denying this, showing this partiality? Why you are treating us like that? This stepmotherly attitude, that's what I said in my outset itself. Not even an iota of apprehension should creep into the minds of the linguistic minorities and religious minorities. You are in power. You are in power. But you have to treat the whole of India as one in your outlook, not in names. You are imposing. That's what we say. We are not against one language, not to reject Hindi or any other language. Don't impose that. In Tamil Nadu, we are bilingual, only Tamil and English. If anybody wants to learn any other language, let them. It is also interpreted that we have stopped people learning Hindi. Even the finance minister has leveled an accusation. Never. We stopped them from learning Hindi. No. The Dakshina Hindi Prachar Sabha's headquarters is in Tamil Nadu. Every year, lakhs of people are studying there and getting graduated. If you are totally against a language, we would not have allowed it. If you are interested, go ahead. But what the way the government is acting today is totally anti-constitutional, anti-federal. Sir, we want to insist upon one thing. If at all you are very sincere, if you are really devoted in celebrating the Constitution Day, you have to uphold secularism and federalism, which is the most important factor, core thread of backbone of our Constitution and our country. And in this situation, sir, I would like to conclude with only one thing. Federalism is not about weakening the center. It is about strengthening the union by empowering the Constitution. So kindly keep in mind, we are not against a language, we are not against a region, but you don't discriminate us. That's because we are lying in the last of India. It is not the last. Rather, India starts from the south only, from there only. Our language is rich. Our contribution to this country is rich. Whenever the integrity and the sovereignty of India was affected, it was DMK which has stood first to protect the nation. We had a slogan of separate Dravida Nadu. We gave it up only during the Chinese aggression. During the Bangladesh war, it was DMK which contributed more than any other state to save the nation. So don't underestimate us. We have always been with us. So stop this attitude of stepmotherly treatment, and I would urge again, respect all languages, respect all religions, and tax devolution is very, very important. So with these words, sir, I thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you. Mani Sri V. Vijay